everywhere we go where we do this kind of work, people say, well, can you build us a scorecard? Sure. Yeah, of course we can build you a scorecard. The real question is, what are you going to do with it, right? And at IBM, what we want to make sure is that we make a very quick link between how did we do and what can we do about that? What action can we take? And what resources are available to us to take that action. So we publish the scorecards. Any major transformation initiative. So when we say, here's what our key strategies are, and we break them out, so we're going to execute them via these programs, all information about that program, who to contact, how we're doing, what the program is about, where our resources are, it's all right here. All of our major initiatives are accessible by every single employee in IBM. So we're just trying to make sure people are aligned with what we're up to. Now this is where it becomes real. At IBM, and we're going through this cycle now, at IBM, every employee has an individual development plan that's linked to our strategies. So we're saying we were going to develop your career in a way that makes sense for what the organization is doing, and where we get some real teeth is around these personal business commitments. Right? So we just went through, in fact, we finished the cycle for 2005 this week. And so we get to the end of the year and we look back and we say, did you do what you said you were going to do? Yes or no? Right? And so it's a very clear report on everybody in IBM and how they did versus some very tangible objectives, right? So where this gets us is, and again, you can debate whether that's over the top or it's a good culture, bad culture, but it is a culture where you are accountable for performance. And so when we start to tee up knowledge management initiatives, we get back to my question, is there a consequence? At IBM, there's a consequence, right? At IBM, if you don't avail yourself of the knowledge management tools, the communities of practice, the knowledge bases that are available, you will probably get to this point and not have a fun day, right? You will probably get to this point and have a bad time because among your objectives at IBM, every single IBMer has knowledge management objectives, right? Everybody sits, we have a panel at the end of the year where we say, well, did Rob do well or did badly? And one thing that affects Rob's performance rating is, can he show he made a tangible contribution to the base of knowledge at IBM? If he cannot, that is not such a great day. Okay, Rob?
Can I add something there?
Sure.
One other facet of IBM, which is this is critical, is IBM is extraordinarily matrixed and virtual. So your team is not ready-made for you. You don't have a team that you sit with all the time. So you have to leverage the larger IBM in order to accomplish these goals. And so that's one thing.
Yeah, it's very true, and I'll talk a little bit more about how virtual we really are. So let's talk about, so performance culture says we've got kind of a base, we've created fertile ground for knowledge management because people really do understand that they're accountable for performing in specific ways. Before I get to communities of practice, talk about sort of the subset of things that we're doing around knowledge management. Remember that knowledge management, it's interesting, I'm sure you've all been through situations where whatever you were doing around knowledge management, your organization got cut because the organization was not doing well, right? At IBM, we do some of the same stuff, but actually the big growth in our knowledge management programs was when we were about ready to go under, right? So if you held stock in IBM in the early 90s, you were not a happy camper. I mean, we're very seriously considering breaking up the company into a software group, a hardware group, and so forth. Lou Gerstner came in, turned the company around. Now, a lot of what he was doing was trying to shake up the culture at IBM, right? And part of that was introducing a lot of what we're doing still today around knowledge management. So we use this portal, which is where a lot of the knowledge management tools and programs are at least delivered, as a means of performing a whole range of transformation activities. So knowledge management to us was always part of the fabric of how we could turn our business around, right? Still is. We still see it that way. I'll skip that. Okay, so we have the usual sort, I'm not going to go deep in here because I think you've all been through what a knowledge base looks like, and obviously in a consulting business, in a business that's heavily dependent on intellectual capital, we have tons of this stuff. So this is the usual thing. A lot of people are in this business. Can we search for it? Can we find it? Can we organize it? Do we have a taxonomy? We do all that. A lot of companies do that. I don't think that's particularly unique. What we do make sure we do is to look at, I'll get to communities in a second, but we do a lot of these centers of excellence. And Centers of Excellence, you remember talking about how we put all of our major initiatives online so people can understand what it's about. Those are very closely linked to funded, right? To funded Centers of Excellence. So we figure, you know, when we look at our profit for last year in the consulting business, we didn't do as well as we would like because we had some troubled projects, you know, projects where we kind of look in the rearview mirror and say, well, geez, is it possible that if we had had more experienced project managers, or we adhered to more rigor in our project management disciplines, we might have done well there? Probably, right? So we spent some money on a Center of Excellence for project management. All our certification training is here. One thing we don't do, and this actually we made this transition when I was with PricewaterhouseCoopers before we got acquired by IBM. We don't distinguish very much between knowledge management and learning, right? Because we just feel it's a completely arbitrary barrier, and so knowledge management is not KM, it's learning and knowledge at IBM. So what that means is that you go online, you can participate in the Center of Excellence. You're always one click away from anything from the global university, from the training courses, right? So we don't make people work too hard to take full advantage of the resources that are available to them, right? So Centers of Excellence. A big push for us these days is innovation. I think everybody, you know, everybody's doing something around innovation. This is one area where I think we're getting close to the mark. Certainly we've got the technology in place. We can do some interesting stuff where people contribute ideas. They can chat about those ideas. We use some search technology to sort of bubble that stuff up and see if we can find patterns in ideas and so forth. And it works pretty well. This is still a little bit new to us, and I think where we're going here is to say that, it's not surprising, but innovation is, we've had to do some thinking about what the sources of innovation are, right? And we've come to the conclusion that the source of innovation is almost never from the senior VPs in Armonk, New York.